In this video we're going to look at finding the area and perimeter of compound shapes, and we're also going to be looking to try and find a missing side. So a compound shape is a complex shape that can be split into smaller, simpler shapes. So we could have something that looks like a solid L, or it could be a solid T, or any combinations of those. So what we do, we sketch the shape, we show how we're splitting it up. So for instance in the L, we might do a vertical line and splitting it into two different shapes. And the T, it would be, well, the sensible one would be a horizontal line. We then look and we add or subtract the areas where possible. So we'd find the areas separately and add them together. Or in the case of the L, we could consider it to be a large rectangle with a smaller one removed. So that's where the subtraction would come in. So we need to be very careful when we're finding individual areas that we're taking the correct measurements for the length and the breadth. And usually there are more than one ways to do this. So that doesn't really matter. Provided our maths is sound, we'll get the right answer every way. So in the example of the T up above, we could split it into 3 different shapes. Or we could split it into the 2, and either way we should have the same area because they cover the same amount of space. So example 2, find the area and perimeter of each of the following compound shapes. So we've traced the shape and now we need to show how we're splitting it up. And I'm going to split this up with a vertical line down here. So what we have is we need to find the measurements of each rectangle. Now the first one we've got, it's 1 meter by 2 meters. So that's fine, but we need to work out the area of the larger one. So what we know is that this part is 3 meters tall, and then we've got another 1 meter here. So that means altogether the height is 4 meters. The width then, we've got a full width along the top of 6 meters. But then we're coming back 2 meters, which means then the base of the right hand rectangle is going to be 4 meters. So whenever we split this up into 2 different shapes, we've got the area 1 is a rectangle, so that's length times breadth, which is 1 by 2, which is 2 square meters. Area 2, let's say it's a square because it's 4 by 4, so it's going to be length squared, which is 4 squared, which is 16 squared meters. So the total is going to be 2 plus 16, which is 18 squared meters. Now, as I say, we could have done this differently. We could have done this separation horizontally, in which case the horizontal rectangle at the top would have been 1 by 6, which gives you an area of 6. Then this other rectangle would be 3 by 4, which is 12. So then we'd have 12 plus 6, which is 18. Or we could have done it as a solid rectangle that's 6 meters by 4 meters. So that would be 24 square meters. And then we've got this rectangle, which is 2 by 3, or 6 square meters. So then we'd have 24, take away 6, which again is 18. So there's lots of different ways in which we can do this. So now we need to work out the perimeter, and the perimeter is the distance around the outside. So I'm going to put a cross at where I'm going to start, and I'm going to go in a clockwise direction. So I'm going to go 6 to the right, and then 4 down, and then we've got 4 back again, and 3 up, and 2 to the left, and then 1 back, and we're back to where we started from. So then if we add all those together, we get a perimeter of 20 centimeters. Example B, we've got this compound shape, and hopefully we can see that if we make a horizontal line along the base, we would have an area 1, an area 2, and if we subtract 2 from 1, we'll get this area in red. Okay, so let's work those out. Area 1 is going to be length times breadth, which is 3.2 times 2, which is 6.4 squared centimeters. Area 2 we can see that it's 0.8 wide by 1 deep. So it's going to be 0.8 times 1, which is 0.8 squared centimetres. So then the total area is going to be 6.4 minus 0.8, which is 5.6 squared centimetres. To work out the perimeter, we then need to work out we'll mark in all the distances first of all. So we need to work out the length of this part of the base. So we know this bit is 0.6 and this bit's 0.8, so that means we've got 1.4 to here. And if we take that away from 3.2, we get 1.8 centimetres. And then the height on the left is also 2 centimetres. So starting at the top corner, the perimeter is going to be 3.2 plus 2 plus 1.8 plus 1 plus 0.8. Now the left hand side we've got to mark, it's also 1.8. No, not 1.8, 1.0. Plus 0.6 and then plus 2. And adding those all together, and we get 12.4 centimetres. 10.4 missing lengths. So we've seen how to find the area and perimeter of a rectangle if we know the length and breadth. Sometimes we have to work out the other way around, and we're told the area or the perimeter on one of the sides and we have to find the other. And one of the first things that we should do with these is to draw a sketch. So example 3, we've got a table showing some dimensions and we want to fill in the gap. So we've got rectangles, so I'm going to draw a rectangle first of all then. And I'm going to mark on what we know. So we know the breadth is 4 centimetres and the other breadth is going to be 4 centimetres, and we know the full perimeter is 24. Okay, so if we call this the length and the length, what we have is 4 plus L plus 4 plus L is equal to 24. So we've got 8 plus 2L equals 24. That means 2L must equal 16, and one value of the length is going to be 8. So the length is 8 centimetres. And if the length is 8, then the area, which is length times breadth, is going to be 8 times 4, which is 32 centimetres squared. Now I'm just going to show you very quickly, because I know this equation might be a bit complicated. So what we know is that the two vertical lengths are 4, so that means they will add together to give 8. And what we have is 8 plus some amount must equal 24. So that means that 8 plus 16 is 24. So that means the two horizontal parts must add together to give 24. So to work out one of them, or to give 16, sorry, so to work out one of them, we'll do 16 divided by 2, and that gives 8. This equation is an algebraic approach, whereas this is maybe a bit more easy to understand. So the two sides are 4 and 4. We add those together to give 8. 8 plus something must give us 24. So the something must be 16. And then if these two are the same length, we divide by 2 to get 8. Part B then, so I'm going to draw another rectangle. And we're going to mark on what we know. So we know the length is 8 centimetres, and we know the area is 56 squared centimetres. And we've got the breadth, and this would be 8, and this is the breadth. So what we know is area is length times breadth. So 56 is going to be 8 times something. So we should know that if we divide 56 by 8, we'll get the breadth. So that means that 7 is equal to B, which is the breadth. So I'll mark that in, that the breadth is 7 centimeters. So now we have that B is equal to 7. So if we're trying to work out the perimeter, I'm going to start in the top corner, and it's going to be 7 plus 8 plus 7 plus 8, which is 30 centimeters. So the perimeter then is 30.